Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be presenting the paper Conceptualizing Seagrass Meadows in Carbon Sequestration and Carbon Change Mitigation, especially in Cambodia. This presentation is for IAIC 2024. My name is Vincent BoonSeng Lim. To start, the paper has a research goal of exploring the capacity of Cambodian seagrass meadows to contribute to the carbon reduction effort and emerging carbon credit market. The methodology employed are basically in-depth engagement of diverse discussion with many local stakeholders. They include farmers, residents, and we also have a representative from the Cambodian government agencies. Integrating economic assessments into these dialogues, including the potential carbon offsets or carbon credit, is one of the items that we did. Examining existing research on seagrass restoration is very crucial, and the paper also reviewed data from previous research, including remote sensing studies to identify the potential project sites. Seagrass is basically a keystone species, so providing habitat for many other species, and it stabilizes sediments, it improves water quality. It also acts like a carbon sink. It's a natural sink absorbing man-made CO2 equivalent at the rate comparable or exceeding forests. In fact, one study showed that the ocean has been absorbing 23 to 27% of man-made CO2 emissions since the Industrial Revolution. Seagrass is also having strong efficiency in storing carbon through its photosynthesis and storage in plants and sediments. Again, lots of research on this area. It is also potential for blue carbon. Research was talking about the climate change mitigation through the economic incentives. The paper did some assessment and found that there are actually very limited research on Cambodian seagrass, but it is pretty clear that seagrass meadows are very crucial for Cambodia's biodiversity, coastal protection, and also carbon sequestration. Cambodia's coastlines, they are like very suitable for seagrass conservation and restoration projects. The paper also found that stakeholders are very crucial for the success and urge the exploration of potential carbon credit as an incentive for coming on board. The paper found lots of challenges, and among them, accurate quantification of seagrass carbon storage is not easy. Management of local authorities and communities, again, a challenge. The adaptation of policies and regulatory framework in Cambodia for seagrass restoration and conservation, a challenge. Next, I'd like to go to the suitable locations for the projects. And the paper has been discussing with local stakeholders. 5 suggestions were found. Among them, the first is Korong Salong. It has extensive seagrass habitat. There is also a sheltered bay where the conservation or restoration effort can be protected. This is very close to Korong, just south of Korong, and Korong is found in previous research to have at least 4 species of thriving seagrass species, at least 4 of them. The second suggestion is Kotang, clear water, significant coral reefs is a bit further away from the mainland, but it is a wonderful location. The third is Kosei. Kosei is very close to a marine park, so marine conservation effort may also be used for seagrass, and any project may receive additional support, like fishing, right? So fishing are regulated in that area and clearly will support the project. Fourth is coast duck, the King's Island, a varied habitat, strong potential for diverse ecosystem. Number 4 is here, north of the Korong. And the fifth is Ko Tonsei, or the Rabbit Island. It has clear waters, diverse marine life, and Ko Tonsei, based on a research not so long ago, found that it has 8 species of seagrass, all thriving. Also, it's even more than Korong, and clearly it's a place that is very suitable for seagrass conservation and restoration. It's very close to the Vietnam border, so it's just west of Vietnam, or the most east part of Cambodia. There are, of course, other potential sites we discussed and explored: Coast Duck Archipelago, Ko Kapit, Ko Kep, Kampong Sombay, Ko Temei, Ko Totang, and all of them are deemed to be very suitable. Now I'd like to go to the suitable species of seagrass in Cambodia for this conservation project or restoration project. The restoration project should focus on identifying and understanding the current species in the location. So once the location is decided, more investigation is needed on the species for that location. And based on a research 2014, it was found that places near Korong has at least 4 thriving species that include Halodal pinifolia. Halodal pinifolia is like the dominant species in this area, and it's pretty useful. But you also have Thalassia amprichi. Thalassia amprichi is not dominant in this area. It's not the most common in this area, but is dominant. It can be dominant in places like slightly more east or slightly more south. So those are, again, a very strong species. It also has Anhalus agroides and Halophila minor. Halophila minor is like the spoon seagrass, very beautiful. And again, it is not the dominant species, but it's thriving. It's fantastic to see a lot of them. Next, we also look at Ko Tonsei, and based on our research 2012, Ko Tonsei has an even more diverse array of species belonging to 2 families. And among the 2 families, beside the 4 species that I've just mentioned, the additional species are Cymodocea cerulata. Cymodocea cerulata is the dominant species in this part of the water. And it is, again, fantastic to see so many of them. The second dominant or subdominant is the one that we just mentioned, Thalassia amprichi. And so beside that one, this part of the water also has Halophila ovalis. It has Syringodium, Isotifolium, and the rest. So the paper advocates for restoration through transplantation, because many research has confirmed and has found that it can be very successful. So successful initiatives are found for transplanting both the shoots and the seeds. It can be both the shoots and the seeds. And it is very successful in establishing new seagrass meadows and bolster the current one. And for restoration, sequestration effort. Both the research in 2002 and also 2016. It is also very sustainable. One of the projects confirmed that the carbon accumulation can be 1,337 ton CO2 after 50 years, after 50 years, and this is very significant. Community engagement is very crucial, but can be done. So the paper advocates for stakeholder engagement, and the paper have done quite some dialogue and truly believe that local community needs to be first convinced. So the project can emphasize on economic benefits like fishery, ecotourism, to foster ownership, and it can be quite effective. Government agencies highlight the carbon sequestration potential, but also highlight the carbon credit market potential, and it can be very effective through this direction. And policy advocacy to convince or persuade the higher authorities, it is important to integrate the seagrass conservation into national climate strategies. So Cambodia is one of the parties that have signed Paris Agreement in 2015, and they are working towards the climate targets that were set. And this project can be part of the roadmap and can be part of the effort. So overall, the measurement techniques is very crucial for the project to be successful, not just capturing information and understanding how to adapt, what to change, and how to move forward, but also to verify eventually for carbon credit market. So verification of carbon is very crucial, and with past research showing that ALOS AVNIR2 satellite can be used effectively. So this is the satellite. The data received from AVNIR2 is very powerful, and it's like super wide coverage. It can enable many monitoring and analysis capabilities, including looking at seagrass extent, density, and health, based on the research 2014. So advantages are wide coverage, regular monitoring, and remote sensing capabilities. But there are also disadvantages like limited spatial resolution. If you want to look at like certain area, very specific, it's going to be slightly difficult. And secondly, cost. So now downloading of the very generic data are not expensive. It's not costly, but the focus of high resolution in specific location or customized location, and the interpretation of the data using customized for customized purposes can be very costly. So it is important to understand that there's a difference. Another research in 2018 talk about the use of drone. So drone is very effective because it can do high spatial resolution, and it is also very flexible. It's like if you look at the seagrass of one area and you want to double confirm and see if it is healthy or not, you can refly that drone over there and look at the new photo, a new image. But satellite, you have to wait, right? You have to so after you have done something, let's go and take a look again. Yeah, you can do that through drone. Real-time data acquisition, you get it like yourself, and you can get it like immediately. Disadvantage are, of course, limited coverage area, operational and personnel constraint. What is operational constraint? That means to fly drone for certain part in Cambodia, you have to get the local authorities agreement. And to fly drone, you need the hiring of trained personnel, highly trained personnel, and therefore that creates some additional administration work. So the paper advocate that the project begin with a drone-based measurement first, generate enough data for monitoring, preferably for small-scale implementation, then combine that with the measurement from the satellite, ground truthing, field surveys for larger implementations. So the next step, the paper advocate for strong field surveys, investigation, once the location is determined. So once location is chosen, examine the species, examine the local condition, gather detailed data. Then do a pilot restoration. So test the transplantation techniques and monitor the carbon sequestration. So the transplantation techniques has been researched quite well. Many countries like US, Europe, some China, Australia, New Zealand have been researched many times, and it is quite well. There are also guidance and books, but it may not work exactly in Cambodia. So that's why the paper suggested a pilot restoration test to examine the techniques. Of course, then will be monitoring evaluation, establish a system, collaboration, and explore carbon markers. Overall, the paper achieves its goal by understanding the capacity of the Cambodian seagrass meadows and assess that it is very crucial for biodiversity, coastline, very suitable. Local stakeholders are the main area to focus on and how to focus on. Identified a few challenges and conducted a few deep dive discussion, in-depth discussions. But overall, the paper advocate for seagrass being a very promising nature-based solutions for climate change mitigation and sustainable development, and advocate for taking action right now. At this point, I just want to say that I shared this with some students and acquaintances, and they were saying, "Oh, Dr. Vincent, why do you need to like make it so urgent? Right? Seagrass and all. Just take your time." And I just want to say that there are, in previous research and some research in certain location, we can see the pictures on our screen right now. So these are the situation of seagrass in many parts of the country and also near location. But based on some recent reports, and we are seeing more and more of them. This one is from Benjamin Jones, 2016, but it is at the coastline of Cambodia. You can see that some part of the seagrass meadows are deteriorating, and they are deteriorating at a very fast rate. And therefore, this paper advocates for slightly more urgent work on the seagrass conservation and restoration, especially restoration, because transplanting seagrass shoots and seeds will take some time, and we are hopeful that with the paper we can start something. And ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my paper, and I truly appreciate the time. Thank you.